Morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Thursday, so it's Thursday's 13. Do we have a list? I don't know if you mentioned you had a list.
I did. I was just talking about it.
I forgot about it. I have terrible memory when I wake up. Okay. Yeah, we got our Thursday 13. Today we're going to have a list of 13 things that we just came up with. And we will have our nifty little whiteboard there, as well as other news stories, just general things that we found interesting, as well as some heartbreaking news about One Direction. So, this is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our news stories 10 to 15 minutes before we start without any caffeine in our bodies. So, let's read those headlines. Today on Before Coffee, 6 Scottish charities lead DEC's Middle East Appeal as the crisis grows.
And we have a bridge collapse in Missouri, and the Biden administration is going to invest in nuclear reactors.
Rangers astonished at discovery of 2 bison calves in Kent.
And NFL fans, there's been a lot of hype lately about Derrick Henry, and is he one of the all-time great running backs? Well, we're going to count down the top 13 NFL running backs of all time based on yards per carry.
Liam Payne, former One Direction singer, dies age 31.
Terrible. And it's National Mulligan Day. That's right. Let me try it again. It's National Mulligan Day, October 17th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
I see what you did there. You gave yourself a mulligan. Well,
that's right.
Hopefully we don't have to try this episode again, because it's going to be
right on.
Perfect out the gate. Knock on wood now, because I've jinxed myself. Let's talk about bison calves. Let's start our day-to-day with some happy news about 2 bison calves who have been born in Kent. This is on Kent Online by Max Chesson. Rangers in charge of the Wilder Blean project have been left stunned after the sudden arrival of 2 bison calves just days apart. Like, they had no idea the bison cows were pregnant, I guess. And then suddenly they popped out 2 calves, one after each other. The newborns, both female, which is good because that means you can have even more bison later, are part of a herd at West Blean and Thorndon Woods near Canterbury as part of a 1.1 million project which has seen the large bovine roam freely in England for the first time in more than 1,000 years. Okay, so they're returning. I had no idea the UK had bison, but I guess they did have bison and they returned them to the wild. Those pesky cows taking over the planet. Hunted extensively in the 20th century, the new arrivals have increased the gang population to 8, since 3 females and a bull were first released in 2022 after being moved from Scotland. The herd has been placed in a woodland area the size of 70 football pitches between Canterbury and Herne Bay, boost biodiversity through their natural behaviors and shape the habitat around them, making it more resilient to climate change. Hannah McKins, a bison ranger for Kent Wildlife Trust, described the moment she made the adorable discovery as of the first calf, saying, "The rangers check their bison daily, and the herd sometimes hears working around here and come to see us." On this occasion, to my absolute astonishment, one of the females came up behind the group, and I saw underneath her she had a little calf. Although we were thinking she might have been pregnant, we weren't expecting to have an arrival so soon, and the fact she was confident enough to bring our calf up to the corral where she knew we were working was such an honor. And as the team welcomed the new arrival, just 4 days later, they were met with more joyous news with a second calf was born. That's right, they got 2 little cute, kind of, I want to say light brown calves, just chilling out with the herd. So adorable. We are absolutely delighted by the arrival of the calves. They're both doing well. They're sucking from their mum, growing quickly by the day, said Hannah. The little horns are already starting to come through, and we're happy with the progress of the herd. They're all protecting the calves well, spending time out in the woods and occasionally coming up to see us as well. So we're really happy with how the herd is doing. Look at those cute little calves with their long legs and their short heads. If not the first time the Rangers have been blessed with offspring conceived in the woods. with a male calf joining the group in December last year. Through their sheer size, Bison create corridors through dense woodland, opening up the forest canopy and bringing light to the forest floor, encouraging woodland regeneration. Another word for that is an elephant path. Elephants do the same thing, right? A lot of the natural wood paths you can find in the forest are due to these large bovines and other such creatures because they're big enough to move everything and eat everything out of the way. They also strip bark from trees, creating standing deadwood, which attracts invertebrates and birds, and their dust bathing sites create habitats for amphibians and attract burrow insects. Bovines truly are only good. Well, not only good. They definitely do bad things for the environment, but for Kent, they're going to do good things because they have a terrible biodiversity at the moment. Last month, it was announced a further £1 million would be spent building 4 bison bridges, which allow the animals to cross public footpaths and roam further afield. Construction has begun on the first 2 bridges, which will allow the herd to access a further 200 hectares of woodland. The first phase is expected to be completed by the end of 2024, but will need to be safety checked before allowing access to the public. And then it's another picture of the bison roaming around. I think this is a depiction of what it would look like because this looks photoshopped, so this isn't real. But this is the idea, right? They have some trees, they have a little bridge where people can cross through the land without actually being in the field of the bison. So I think it's both bison bridges and people bridges. So everyone can live harmoniously and nobody is getting manhandled by a bison. Something that is a problem, of course, in Yosemite, where people go up to the bison and go, oh look, I'm gonna pet the bison, and then they get charged at by a male bison because they're not pets. They're wild animals. Under UK law, European bison are classified as dangerous wild animals, and to be met legal requirements, 26 miles of fencing surround the bison area to keep the public and the herd separate. However, this is problematic in Blean woodland as it hosts a wide network of footpaths crisscrossing the site. Bosses behind the scheme say the bridges are the solution, allowing the bison to cross the footpaths without sharing the same space as the public, and then they can also look at the bison. Paul Whitfield, Director General of Wildwood Trust, said, "It's always been part of this project to allow the herd to grow naturally over time through breeding. These births show that the animals are showing natural healthy behaviors and thriving in the woodland that they are regenerating. And in time, it would be wonderful for some of these animals to breed here in Kent, start new herds for other projects like this." So, 2 surprise babies, fitting with that surprise baby from yesterday on the Wacky and Weird Wednesday that was born at the brewery. And I guess we'll keep watching this and see how Kent revitalizes its bison population. On to your story.
Oh, really? You ready for me already, huh?
Yep.
All right, let me
Only got
finish
2
up
stories.
this. I'll finish it later. All right, I got 3 stories to get to. They're short. We have a bridge collapse. This was from WDAM.com and I guess St. Louis or Mississippi somewhere. Mississippi, perhaps. Thoughts and prayers were offered around the state Wednesday. I said it was in Missouri, actually Mississippi. Sorry about that. Thoughts and prayers were offered around the state Wednesday night, including those from Governor Tate Reeves after a bridge being demolished in Simpson County collapsed, killing 3 and critically injuring 4. Investigators said the people killed were all part of a crew with the Columbia-based TL Wallace Construction, Inc. The Strong River Bridge at Interstate 49, which is I means. The Stone River Bridge on Interstate 49 had been closed to drivers since September. Simpson County Sheriff Paul Mullins thanks the many who had reached out offering support. As far as the county stepping up at this time, I mean, we've had an outpouring of people who want to bring food and comfort. I've had clergymen come out and pray with workers that were there that witnessed this. It's just people coming together. That's what's really nice about a small county. Frances Odom, who lives near the bridge, described what she saw. "I was outside walking my dog, and the track hole went down there with the concrete. I heard a big boom and dust going everywhere, and I said, That track hoe just went off the bridge, Odom said. None of the names of the victims of those injured have been released. WDAM's 7's Carrie Leggett Brown has been in touch with a woman who said her son was in the hospital after being hurt in the collapse. The mother asked for his son to be kept in people's prayers. Amen, said Simpson County Emergency Management Agency Director John Kilpatrick. We just need to be praying for these first responders, all the family members. It's a sad day in the county today. A lot of praying in this place. Other news, we're going to go to the Biden administration is talking about, we're going to be talking to Germany and other countries this week. This is Euronews.com. U.S. President canceled visit last week because of Hurricane Milton striking the U.S. U.S. President Joe Biden said visit Germany on Friday, according to German government sources. Spiegel magazine reported that preparations for the meetings are already well underway. Biden has postponed the trip due on October 8th and remained in Washington, D.C. to monitor Hurricane Milton's impact on Florida. Spiegel reports that meetings with Chancellor Olaf Scholz and President Frank-Walter Steinmeier are on the agenda next Friday. Biden had been expected to arrive in Berlin on 10 October evening for the meeting and had been scheduled to host a summit on the war in Ukraine at the U.S. Ramstein Air Base. The cancellation of the trip meant that Ramstein meeting was also canceled, which would have discussed possible new aid commitments to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Biden on Sunday will survey the devastation inflicted on Florida's Gulf Coast by Hurricane Milton as he urges Congress to approve additional emergency disaster funding. Vice President Kamala Harris will spend the second day in North Carolina, hard hit by Hurricane Helene, to attend Black Church and hold a campaign rally. Those are your updates for Biden's visit today. Also, Biden news. This is INC.com from Reuters, I guess, is the actual source. Biden administration to invest $900 million in small nuclear reactors. You thought nuclear power was dead? No, it's not. It's making a comeback because of
climate change.
The greenhouse effect.
Yeah.
Clean greenhouse effect. There is no carbon footprint for nuclear power. There's a plutonium footprint, but hey, we'll let them three-eyed fish worry about it. The U.S. recently opened applications up for the $900 million in funding to support the initial domestic deployment of small modular nuclear reactors. Small modular, maybe I can carry one in a suitcase. Maybe not that small. President Joe Biden's administration believes nuclear power is critical to fight against climate change. Why it matters. Nuclear power generates electricity virtually free from emissions, and that U.S. nuclear power capacity must triple to meet emission goals. Small modular reactors, or SMRs, differ from traditional large nuclear plants because they have simpler designs and can be scaled to demand. Backers say they're inherently safer and less costly because they can be built in factories rather than at site. SMRs could be used to generate heat or power and for desalination. But no U.S. commercial SMR has been built yet. Critics said that they will be more expensive to run than larger reactors because they will struggle to achieve economies of scale. Like large reactors, they also produce long-lasting radioactive waste for which there is no final depository in the U.S. How will the money be distributed? The funds come from a 2021 bipartisan infrastructure law that the Energy Department anticipates offering it in two tiers. Up to $800 million will go to milestone-based rewards for support of first-mover teams of utility, reactor, vendor, constructor, end users, and others. Up to $100 will spur additional SMR deployments by addressing gaps that have hindered the domestic nuclear industry in areas such as design, licensing, supplier development, and site preparation, the department said. Revitalizing America's nuclear sector is key to adding more carbon-free energy to the grid and meeting the needs of our growing economy, from AI and data centers to manufacturing and healthcare, said U.S. Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm.
Look at that
political
statement there.
Brief stories. Quick, brief stories. Nuclear energy making a comeback. Back to you.
At least in the U.S., because it's definitely been in the EU for a while now. And I would like it to continue making a comeback everywhere, because unfortunately we just we don't live in a world that doesn't need energy, so we need energy for somewhere. People don't want to give up what they already have, basically. And we're used to our current life, how we live, which requires a lot of energy, unfortunately. Right. I'm sure everyone's heard about all the terrible things happening in the Middle East. It seems to be every single year there's something bad happening there. And 6 Scottish charities are leading the Disaster Emergency Committee in making an appeal as the crisis there grows. This is from Mark McDougall on the Herald Scotland. 6 Scottish charities, which make up the Disaster Emergency Committee in Scotland, is launching a new Middle East humanitarian appeal in a bid to help people who have had their lives devastated by ongoing conflict. Over the past year, the conflict in the Middle East has turned lives upside down, and millions have had to flee their homes in search of safety. Gaza and Lebanon are two of the most affected areas, with millions across both and the wider region in need of food, shelter, and medical care. DEC member charities are now coordinating closely with each other and local partners to provide the things that are needed to save lives. 6 of the charities leading the effort are in Scotland. They are the British Red Cross, Christian Aid, Islamic Relief, Oxfam, Save the Children, and Tear Fund. They are being assisted by 9 other DEC members across the UK with Action Against Hunger, Action Aid UK, Age International CAFOD, Care International UK, Concern Worldwide UK, International Rescue Committee UK, Plan International, and World Vision UK are all involved. That's a lot of organizations. In Gaza, 90% of the population has already been displaced, with food and water scarce in the West Bank. Vital water, sanitation, and hygiene infrastructure has been damaged. More than 1 million people in Lebanon have been forced to leave their homes as violence increased in the country in the recent weeks, too. Despite these challenges, 14 DEC member charities are responding in Gaza and Lebanon, and 8 in the West Bank. As well as Gaza, Lebanon, and in the West Bank, tens of thousands are displaced within Israel, and a number of DEC charities are ready to expand their response to include the country in the future. The appeal would see £10 be able to provide blankets for 2 people to keep them warm. £50 would provide emergency food for 5 families for 1 week, and £100 could provide emergency shelter for 5 families. The appeal will be broadcast across radio and TV, and Rob Murray, the director for Scotland of the British Red Cross and spokesperson for the appeal, hopes people are able to help as much as possible. He said, "Over the past year, conflicts in the Middle East have devastated lives across the region, and millions have fled their homes in search of safety. In Gaza, famine is looming, clean water is scarce, and the healthcare system has all but collapsed. The situation in Lebanon is deteriorating, and humanitarian needs are increasing at an alarming rate. DEC member charities are responding right now, providing life-saving food, water, shelter, medicine, and so much more. We're asking people across Scotland to donate, no matter the amount, to this appeal to help provide essential humanitarian aid." The UK government is supporting the appeal by matching the first £10 million. So if you make 10 million, they'll double it from the British public. Annalise Dodds, Minister of State of Development, said, "Suffering of civilians impacted by the conflict across the Middle East is intolerable. Humanitarian support is urgently needed for the most vulnerable people. Charities play a crucial role in providing help to those most affected and need your support. That is why we are matching public donations to the Disasters Emergency Committee's Middle East Humanitarian Appeal to provide urgent humanitarian assistance up to £10 million. This will be used to provide safe, life-saving aid, including medical supplies, shelter, clean water to those who need it most." Stay up to date with the developments in the Middle East by following the DEC in Scotland on Twitter, if you use that, Facebook or Instagram, and you can make donations at www.dec.org.uk or by calling in the UK. So this is a UK number. I don't know the number code for the UK. the region code for the UK, but it's 0330-123-0333, or text HOPE to 70676 or 70676 to donate £10. So by just texting HOPE, you instantly donate £10. They probably ask for some sort of bank information or credit card, and then easy. You can also visit the dec.org.uk/appeal, Middle East Humanitarian Appeal, for more information. So check all that stuff out. I'm sure you don't have to be British to donate, so anybody out there who can lend $10 or $5 can give people blankets to survive the cold winter, or emergency food for 5 families, all that stuff. 100 pounds can support 5 families in an emergency shelter, so that's how much they're making that money stretch, so any little bit counts. That's my update on organizing aid for the Middle East. On to our Thursday 13.
All right. Just working on a clip for you there. Thursday 13 today is, let me get the camera so I can see myself. Thursday 13, it's football season. It's the middle of football season, everybody. You don't know that in Europe and everywhere else, but American NFL football season is the big season in the sports. It just never seems to end. And we love arguing about who's the greatest, right? It's like, who's the greatest? Basketball's really good at this. Michael Jordan or LeBron, you know? But in football, it's more of a team game. Running backs, again, one of those guys that get the ball, and you got to average. You got American football. You got 4 downs to get 10 yards. What is that average? 2.5 yards. That doesn't seem so hard, right? 2.5 yards. 2.5 yards per carry would not get you on an NFL roster. 3.5 yards per carry will not get you on an NFL roster. They might keep you as a 3rd down back or something. That's about it. The standard is usually around 4. And what that means is you get 3 downs, you get 4 yards per carry, you've got 12 yards, you got a 1st down. You just keep moving the ball down the field. You don't even have to throw it. So if you have a strong running game, that sets up everything else. So having a big running back that can get over 4 yards a carry is a big deal. So our list today is the top 13 running backs of all time in yards per carry. Minimum of 1,000 carries, because otherwise and no quarterbacks, because quarterbacks play by different rules. Yeah. Quarterbacks who run are just guys that haven't learned how to pass yet for the most part. And our number 1 on our all-time list is a name that a lot of people won't expect, and a lot of people haven't even heard of, because he's not a Hall of Famer and not likely to be a Hall of Famer, is Jamal Charles, who through his entire career averaged 5.4 yards per carry. 5.4 yards per carry is the all-time high. Jamal Charles played for the Kansas City Chiefs, and his career ended early because of injury. At number 2 is Nick Chubb, who is currently still playing. 5.3 yards per carry for his career. Nick Chubb is coming back from injury for the Cleveland Browns. I think he's coming back this week from an injury. So Nick Chubb ready to maybe even increase that. His margin here. Maybe he'll catch Jamal Charles if he gets his average up some. Number 3 is a guy everybody's heard of, the Hall of Famer Jim Brown. Jim Brown, probably the greatest football player of all time in some people's estimation. Also the great lacrosse player of all time. College lacrosse player of all time. So he did both at Syracuse, yes. And of course, like Nick Chubb, played his entire career for the Cleveland Browns, which is interesting. So you got 2 of the top 3 Cleveland Browns up there. Number 4, be a shock to a lot of people. Former Green Bay Packer and current Minnesota Viking, Aaron Jones, averages 5 yards per carry for his entire career. Shocking. He is number 4 on the list. And also tied with Aaron Jones, we might want to put a little asterisk on the side here. Gale Sayers, Chicago Bear great, who had a very short career, but only had 991 career carries. So he doesn't make the list, but if he had 9 more carries, he would. Plus, Gale Sayers, if you watch the movie Brian's Song, which is a story about his teammate Brian Piccolo, dying of cancer. Brian's Song was a Billy D. Williams and James Caan movie from the late 60s or early 70s. Brian's Song catalogs Gale Sayers' knee injury. He hurt his knee. He was an all-pro running back, tore up his knee, came back early. They didn't have real good knee surgery in those days, so his career was basically ruined. But his last season as a running back, he led the league in rushing, but it was like 3 yards a carry. So that dragged his average way down. Before that, he was averaging around 6 yards a carry. So I'm just putting Gale Sayers on this list because he made the number one on this list, barring injury, because he was off to a rocket start. Number 5 is a guy everybody's heard of, Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders is like a punt returner in the backfield. Never went through a hole. Just ran around and got away from people. And he averaged 5 yards a carry doing that. So he's number 5 on the all-time list. This is the all-time list. And you're like, Where's Derrick Henry on this list? Is Derrick Henry on this list? Mm-hmm. He's the MVP of the league so far. He's got over 800 yards in 6 games or something. Not on the list yet, but another active player is on there, Jonathan Taylor, formerly of the University of Wisconsin, playing for the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor checks in with 4.9 and another asterisk. He is currently at 997 carries, but he's on the list because I'm pretty much sure he's going to get 3 more carries in the next game. Mm-hmm. So I don't think his average is going to go down a whole hell of a lot in the next 3 carries. So we're putting Jonathan Taylor on the list. It's going to be a shame to leave him off just because he hasn't played a game yet this week. Number 7's a guy almost nobody's heard of, Paul Lowe. Paul Lowe played in the AFL, the American Football League, in the 1960s for the, I know it was the Chargers, and I want to say the Chiefs, too, but I know he played for the Chargers. Paul Lowe at 4.9 yards a carry, a forgotten man from the American Football League. Maybe put him in the Hall of Fame. Let's put Paul Lowe in the Hall of Fame. Number 8 is an odd guy. I'd say odd in not the derogatory sense, but a different sort of fella. Robert Smith, who averaged 4.8 yards a carry for his entire career and quit football early to become a doctor.
Wow, Smith. That's not terrible.
Was smart enough to be a doctor, but decided to play football because he had the skill and you can make a lot of money playing football while you're going through your final medical school classes, right?
As long as you don't get injured.
Make a lot of money for the future. Yeah. Oh, and plus you make pay, but get injured is not a big deal. You're going to be a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Plus you make a lot of contacts with athletes who become your patients later. Hey. And athletes all got money. Those big fancy athletes, they all got that money. Number 9 is Joe Perry from the 1950s. Probably the oldest guy in this list, I think, is Joe Perry. Played for the San Francisco 49ers and a couple other teams, I believe. He averaged 4.8 yards per carry. Other checking in at 4.8 is another active player, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey of 49ers. A lot of active players on his list. The 49ers and formerly of the Carolina Panthers, Christian McCaffrey probably was the MVP last year, but they didn't give it to him. He's one of the few guys to get 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing in the same season. Derrick Henry checks in at number 11. Derrick Henry, the current rushing leader in the NFL, is on our list. So he is legitimately one of the greatest running backs of all time, having averaged 4.7 yards per carry and led the league in rushing several times.
Wow, amazing.
Number 12 is an interesting name you may have heard of, Tiki Barber. Number 12, 4.7 yards a carry also, Tiki Barber. Of course, there's a ton of people with 4.7 yards per carry. There's a tie amongst about 15 people, but I'm rating them on number of carries, right? Because if you have the number of carries and you still maintain that average, you're rank above everybody else. So Tiki Barber is actually behind our number 13 guy in number of carries, but I misread the stats, but he's still on the list. He's probably 13 instead of 12, but he's still on the list. Tiki Barber of the New York Giants, who retired early. And his brother Rondé's in the Hall of Fame, but Tiki might not make it because he had a fumbling problem, at least until his last year. And our number 13, greatest running backs in the history of NFL, is somebody you've heard of. Everybody's heard of.
Everybody, okay.
But not for football.
Really?
But not for football.
Oh no, I see it already.
It seems obvious. O.J. Simpson, 4.7 yards per carry. But not as many carries as Derrick Henry, so he's slightly behind Derrick Henry. So there's your list. O.J. Simpson is a top 13 of all time NFL running back in yards per carry. He also gained a lot of yards, too. And he was a great running back. He was unstoppable in his prime.
But as everyone knows, just because your
gone
sportsman is great at sports doesn't mean they're a good person.
Oh. Yeah, we won't go into their personal idiosyncrasies of any of these guys. I mean, maybe some of these other guys had problems. I don't even know. But we definitely know about OJ's problems. There's your list. And I should have a clip for you in a minute. Back to you.
Okay. Well, from that happy news to some sad news. I'm sad too. I'm sure people have already heard about this, but we're going to cover it anyways, just in case you haven't. Liam Payne, former One Direction singer, has died at the age of 31. That's only 1 year older than me. Very scary. Also, that people that you grew up with are dying. That's also very scary in itself. Don't have an existential crisis yet, though. British musician was found dead after falling from the third floor of a hotel in Buenos Aires. This article is on The Guardian by Sean Kane and Harriet Barber in Buenos Aires. Liam Payne, a former member of the boy band One Direction, has died aged 31 after falling from a third floor hotel room in Buenos Aires, police have confirmed. The singer died yesterday on October 16th at 5 p.m. local time in Buenos Aires. Liam James Payne, composer, guitarist, former member of the band One Direction, died today after falling from the third floor of a hotel in Palermo, Buenos Aires police said in a statement. Alberto Crescenzi, head of the state emergency medical system, told Argentina's Todo Noticias TV channel that Payne had fallen into an internal courtyard at the hotel. A few minutes later, an emergency arrived and confirmed the death of this man, who we later learned was from a musical group. He had injuries incompatible with life as a result of his fall. There's no way to do anything, Crescenti said. Injuries incompatible with life. That is such a scientific way to say that. Crescenti said authorities were investigating the circumstances of Payne's death and conducting an autopsy. In a statement yesterday, which was the October 16th, the police said that they had gone to the hotel after being notified of an aggressive man who could be under the effects of drugs and alcohol, according to Reuters. The hotel manager said he heard a loud noise at the back of the hotel. When police arrived, they found that a man had fallen over the balcony in his room, the statement said. Payne had been visiting Argentina along with his former bandmate Niall Horan, who performed at the city's Movie Star Arena on October 2nd. Payne was seen dancing and singing along with Horan's fans at the concert. Hundreds of fans gathered outside the hotel on Wednesday evening, with police sectioning off the entrance with tape. A quiet disbelief hung over the street. Supporters stood in shock, many of them in tears as they consoled one another. Others stared up at the hotel, of which all the curtains were closed. "I'm feeling heartbroken. I remember when I was a kid and I had a lot of bullying in my school and his songs helped. I'm devastated. I came as soon as I heard the news," the 26-year-old fan Martina Beluasqui. "I saw him at Niall's show a few weeks ago. He was singing and dancing and jumping. I met him when I was 12. He was with his family and I asked for a picture. He was so nice. I was so shy. He tried to talk to me, but I couldn't say anything. I regret that," a 25-year-old fan Mariana Pinto said. Musicians including Liam Gallagher paid tribute to Payne. "Life is precious, kids, and you only get to do it once. Go easy," the Oasis frontman tweeted. Born in Wolverhampton, England in 1993, Payne was just 16 years old when he became part of One Direction, a boy band formed by music executive Simon Cowell on the British reality TV show The X Factor in 2010. The band, which consisted of Payne, Horan, Harry Styles, I like how They don't say everyone's name. Liam Payne, Niall Horan, Harry Styles, Louis Tomlinson, and Zayn Malik didn't win the season of the X Factor, but as it always goes with these kind of shows, they went on to become one of the biggest boy bands of all time. You don't need to win, you just have to be on the show long enough that people remember you. They sold more than 70 million records worldwide, with hits including What Makes You Beautiful, Night Changes, and Still My Girl. One Direction went on an indefinite hiatus in 2016. Some people have been calling it a breakup, as in they're never getting back together. Payne signed off as a solo act, releasing his debut single Strip That Down, featuring Quavo, the following year. Other hit songs, aside from Strip That Down, which peaked at number 10 on the US Billboard charts, include For You with Rita Ora and Get Low with Zedd. Speaking to The Guardian in 2019, Payne opened up about his mental health, revealing he'd been in therapy for 2 years. He said that at the height of One Direction's fame, he began using alcohol and epilepsy drug as a mood stabilizer to counter the erratic highs and lows he was experiencing. I just needed a little bit of help to keep me stable. It was very touch and go at times, he said. Last year, he said in an interview that he completed more than 3 months of sobriety. I'm sober now, over 100 days, he told IFL TV. I feel amazing, I feel really, really good, and the support from fans has been really, really good. So I'm super happy. Payne became a father in 2017, having a son, Bear Gray Payne, with his then partner and X Factor judge, Cheryl Cole. The couple split in 2018 after 2 years together. So here's my speculation, which I don't mean any disrespect by it, but it sounds like if he was struggling with sobriety, that he could have had a relapse, and relapses can hit you really badly. And the hotel was saying that there was complaints about noise and a drunken stupor. So sadly, hopefully not, but it could be the case that he had a relapse, and unfortunately the relapse ended in death, which is tragic because most relapses should just end in disappointment with yourself and then working hard to do it again. But it wasn't this case, so right. I hope every fan of One Direction, I'm not a fan of One Direction, but can deal with their grief in a healthy way and learn to appreciate Liam Payne's life instead of being miserable in his death. I'm sure there'll be more updates on the story, and you guys probably already will know them before I do. So right. That's my sad news coming out of culture today.
Sad news. I sent you a video.
I see it.
I gave you a start time and a stop time because we don't want to hear.
I'll try to edit it as soon as possible.
All the drivel. All right. Unless you want to hear Ted Cruz drivel, which is just like, what? That's not even the question. Anyway. It's Ted Cruz. Be sure to hold your nose.
And you can start this day in history, I guess.
Artist. Anyway, this day in history, 1346, at the Battle of Neville's Cross, the English defeated the Scots, who, as allies of the French, had invaded England in an attempt to distract Edward III from the siege of Calais, France. Very complicated war there. 1448, this day, October 17th, the last major effort by Crusaders to free the Balkans from Ottoman rule began with the Second Battle of Kosovo in Serbia, in which Hungarian Wallachian armies suffered a crushing defeat. They did not free the Balkans. In 1707, German Baroque composer Johann Sebastian Bach married his cousin, Maria Barbara Bach, on Dornheim. Married his cousin.
Is that what we're celebrating? Cousin marriage? It's weird that that's on the list of important things.
Yeah. It wasn't just for the royals. It was also for German composers. I love my cousin. Don't forget Einstein also married his cousin.
Keep it in the family, as I say.
1777, British General John Burgoyne surrendered his troops following his shocking defeat at the Second Battle of Saratoga. Yeah, what a shame. Anyway, 1854, British and French troops began the Siege of Sevastopol during the Crimean War. The Siege of Sevastopol has a ring to it, doesn't it? In 1918, American actress Rita Hayworth was born. Rita Hayworth, besides being in that poster in that Shawshank Redemption movie, her portrayal of seductresses helped earn her the nickname the Love Goddess. Man,
really?
try to live up to that nickname, will you?
Yeah.
Hey, Love Goddess, get on over here. Give me some love. 1939, the American classic Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, starring Jimmy Stewart, had its world premiere. Though it angered the political establishment, the drama won wide acclaim from the public and film industry, showing how corrupt Washington is. Glad they fixed that. 1968, the American action film Bullet was released. It features Steve McQueen in one of many considered his definitive role, also known for its iconic car chase scene. There's another car chase scene we could have shown. I think that one was in I forget what kind of car it was. What kind of car was Bullet?
No
I want to
clue.
say it was I want to say it was a Mustang, but I'm not sure. Probably wasn't. 1972, American rapper and actor Eminem was born. So happy birthday, Eminem. One of the most controversial and best-selling artists of the 21st century. He turns 52 today. Eminem is 52. That's
And has a
old
grandchild,
age,
if you
folks.
remember, we reported on that, so.
Oh,
Feel even
yeah.
more old, oldie.
2000. 2000. Well, the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Oh wait, he's in a walker. Anyway, he's not quite that old yet, but I had to make the old guy joke because I'm an old guy. In 2005, the Colbert Report, an ironic send-up of television. The Colbert Report, an ironic send-up of television news programs hosted by Stephen Colbert debuted on the Comedy Central and ran until 2014. And he's, of course, the host of Late Night now. 2018, recreational marijuana became legal in Canada on this day. Woohoo! It was Spark Up Day in Canada this day 6 years ago. Everybody, I know, Canadians I know are just a celebrating. And actually, they didn't really care that much because what really happens in Canada is you got to buy it from the government, just like you got to buy your alcohol from the government. You got to buy your cigarettes from the government. Although there's an alternative in Canada, you can go to First Nation reservations and buy it from the natives who don't give a crap about IDs or anything. They say, hey, you're 21, you look 21, here's your weed, here's your money, here's your weed. So yeah, Canada's had legal weed for a while now, but you could buy it on reservations for even longer. Our featured event is 1979. Mother Teresa awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace. On this day in 1979, Mother Teresa, founder of the Roman Catholic Order of Women dedicated to the poor and particularly to the destitute of India, was named the recipient of that year's Nobel Prize for Peace. Featured biography is Mae Jemison, American physician and astronaut, a black physician and astronaut, as I can tell by her picture. So I imagine she set some kind of standard for NASA, right?
Maybe.
And her birthday was born, she was born October 17, 1956. That means she turned 68, even though Britannica keeps insisting it's 2023 still. She is actually 68, not 67 as they have her listed here. Other birthdays today besides Rita Hayworth, it is Montgomery Clift's birthday. Montgomery Clift, born in 1920. So Montgomery Clift to be 104. He got in that tragic accident that screwed up his face, but he was one of them handsome actors. Father of Eleanor Clift, if you know what she's a political pundit. 1938, Evel Knievel was born. Happy birthday to Evel Knievel. Motorcycle stuntman. 1962, the creator of Beavis and Butthead, Mike Judge was born. American director and producer, creator of Beavis and Butthead, King on the Hill, and a bunch of other stuff. Office Space, the movie Office Space, Mike Judge. In 1970, we already covered Eminem's birthday. Marshall Mathers, happy 52nd, you old bastard. National Pasta Day today. It's also National Pasta Day. That goes with the Eminem's birthday, I'm for sure, some way. National Get Smart About Credit Day is today. It's Black Poetry Day. Doesn't coincide with anybody's birthday, but it's Black Poetry Day. National Mulligan Day. Mulligan is when you tee off at a golf course and your tee shot goes in the woods and there's no damn way in the world you're going to go looking for it. And they say, we'll give you a mulligan on that one. Hit another one. We're not going to spend 2 hours looking for your ball.
I'll give you another one.
So it's National Mulligan Day for the golfers out there. Get to Know Your Customers Day is the third Thursday of each quarter. So get to know your customers because, golly, they're the ones that give you money. And National Edge Day. I don't know if this is about the guitar player for U2 or not. It might be. Let's see. National Edge Day. As part of a straight edge movement, teens and young adults pledge to live a clean lifestyle. Many who follow the movement also sustain for recreational sex and unhealthy food choices. So there you go. Stay away from the drugs, kids.
If you can.
And there you go. Be on
I
the
know
edge,
life is hard.
or off the edge.
If you want to do drugs, do a very, very little amount of it, okay?
And of course, sugar is the number one abused drug in the world that nobody talks about.
And caffeine as well. Don't forget. Caffeine's also a drug.
Caffeine's abused? Is caffeine abused? Is anybody checking
if
themselves?
You can't wake up without drinking caffeine, there's something wrong with your body because, let me go on a tangent here, just a little small rant. How caffeine works is it tricks your body into thinking, hey, I'm not tired anymore. So that means you're self-medicating, being tired. You're all day, right? If you can't even wake up without drinking coffee, right? Don't talk to me unless I have my cup of coffee. Right. There's something really wrong with your body. You need rest. You need to sleep. Not drink more coffee.
I say sugar is far more abused.
Yeah.
I say sugar is far more abused than
Hey, it's not a competition, but I'm just saying caffeine's also guilty.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, I thought you were saying caffeine was more abused.
No, I don't
anyway,
know who
those
the
are all
winner
your
is. I'm not a
days.
scientist.
You can close it out.
Yeah, okay.
You got the ball now. You can close it out.
Was that it? That was all the days?
Those are your days for... I didn't say my little thing. Sorry.
Okay.
That is it for the days for today, October 17th, 2024, on Before Pasta. There you go.
All right. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands. It's also International Day for Eradication of Poverty. So if you know anybody who's dealing with poverty, I don't know, let them move into your house and pay really low amount of rent. I'm sure they don't want that, but let's just work on eating the rich. There we go. Let's work on eating the rich and distributing all their wealth to the people who really work hard for it and not the people who sit there and make a small handful of decisions and then they make $1 billion every second. So let's ensure social justice, peace, and prosperity. Let's work together as a community to give people the dignity they deserve and not live in poverty. That's our stories for today's Thursday 13. Tomorrow will be the Friday news dump, where we'll also just talk about random news stories that we found interesting before the weekend, so you don't have to worry about anything because we told you everything that matters that's going on. Don't forget to subscribe to the Ally and Rog channel if you're not already, and turn on that notification bell so you can get notified when we go live with another episode. And of course, like this video, tell us below what your most tragic death that happened to you was. I know a lot of people were deeply affected by Michael Jackson's death. I was too young to care, honestly, when it happened. So I'm not in a little personal thing here. I'm not really deeply affected by death of people I don't really know. I'm sad that it's happened. It's really tragic, but yeah, I'm not gonna cry and leave candles out, unfortunately, for anybody, any celebrity's death. Because there's celebrities that have died, and I'm just like, I don't know what you guys want me to do. I'm just another human. And I'm not scared to admit that. Anyways, let's go to our mic drop moment, which is some political haha funnies.
It's Colin Allred versus Ted Cruz in a debate.
Exactly.
Everybody hates Ted Cruz. Ready?
Let's see some debate.
Senator who will stand with law enforcement, who will lock up criminals and fight to secure the border. And unfortunately, Congressman Allred's record on crime has been terrible. Congressman Allred has voted not once but twice in favor of defunding the police.
You got to play the part with Ted Cruz lying about Black Lives Matter.
In 2019. From 2019 to 2023, let me tell you what happened to the murder rate.
Look at this guy. He's like
it went up 29%.
So pissed that he has to
right
listen
here in
to
Dallas, it
him
went up
speak.
17%. In San Antonio, it went up 57%. And my view, Congressman Allred is happy to talk about those who committed acts of violence on January 6th, but you don't hear him talking about the Antifa and Black Lives Matter riots that burned cities across this country. If you commit an act of violence, you should go to jail, and there should be no political favoritism in that regard.
Congressman, you have 90 seconds to respond.
Oh, that was really something. I have to say, you can't be for the mob on January 6th and for the officers. You can't, and it's not funny, because you're a threat to democracy. Sure. I was on the House floor when we went through the votes. I remember when you objected to the results in Arizona. Y'all at home might remember where you were.
You're living in a reality where people aren't humans.
You were doing. I know where I was, and I know where he was. I remember when they told us to reach under our seats for these gas masks. I didn't know we had, because they had deployed tear gas in the rotunda. The officers locked all the doors. We barred the doors the president walks through to deliver the State of the Union.
It's hilarious that you were caught in that. I got my...
to hold paper. And I texted my wife, Allie, who
Trump told me not to go to work that day.
The guy on the left,
home with our son Jordan, who wasn't
the guy on the left was ready to fight. The guy on the right was hiding in a closet. Just remember that.
The
guy who instigated it was hiding. The guy
he's laughing. He's laughing because he doesn't.
Everybody.
He's embarrassed.
That election.
Don't forget, Colin Allred was an NFL football player.
And that's okay. I don't want him to get hurt by the mob. I really don't. This election is his accountability.
It just goes on to where Ted Cruz won't answer the next question.
If for the first time in 250
the next question was, Ted Cruz, would you pardon the January 6 rioters? And he spends 2 minutes not answering the question.
The folks responsible have to be held accountable. That's why Liz Cheney has endorsed me and has gotten involved in this.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.